You think your battles are natural, but the truth is they are spiritual, and behind every cycle you cannot break, behind every chain you cannot shake, behind every addiction, fear, or torment that refuses to leave, there is a stronghold, a fortified lie, a spiritual fortress built by the enemy to keep you bound in defeat. But what few realize is that God has already given you weapons that are not of this world, mighty through Him for pulling down strongholds, demolishing arguments, and tearing apart every lofty thing raised against the knowledge of Christ. These weapons are not hidden in secret vaults. They are written plainly in His Word, and the verses that you overlook, skim past, or treat as familiar are the very keys to your deliverance. When you speak them, believe them, and declare them with faith, they become fire in your mouth and a hammer that shatters the chains you thought could never be broken. The first verse that breaks strongholds is 2 Corinthians 10 verse 4. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. This verse does not simply describe your fight, it defines your victory. The enemy wants you to believe your struggle is natural, that your anger, fear, lust, bitterness, or depression are just part of your personality, but the Word exposes the lie. They are strongholds, and strongholds are not permanent. They can be pulled down, dismantled, reduced to rubble, not by human wisdom but by divine power. Every time you declare this verse, you remind your enemy that you are not fighting with your fists or your intellect, you are wielding weapons forged by God Himself. The second verse is James 4 verse 7. Submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. This is shocking to many because it removes the excuse that the devil is too strong. Scripture says he will flee, not might, not sometimes, not if he feels like it. The condition is submission. Your authority to resist comes from your willingness to bow. Strongholds crumble when you refuse to give the enemy legal ground. Every time you align your heart with God's will, every time you surrender instead of compromise, you place yourself under divine covering, and the devil cannot withstand it. The third verse is John 8 verse 32. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Strongholds are built on lies. Every deception of the enemy is a brick in the wall that surrounds your mind, but truth is the sledgehammer that breaks through. When you know the truth, not just read it, not just hear it, but know it deep in your spirit, it exposes every lie you believed about yourself, about God, about your circumstances. The enemy whispers that you are trapped, but the truth says you are free. He whispers that you are weak, but the truth says you are strong in the Lord. He whispers that you are forgotten, but the truth says you are chosen. Every declaration of truth is a blow against the fortress that has held you. The fourth verse is Isaiah 54 verse 17. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is not poetic comfort, it is a spiritual guarantee. Weapons will be formed, attacks will come, accusations will rise, schemes will unfold, but none of them will succeed against the one who stands in covenant with God. The enemy builds strongholds with words, condemnation, shame, accusation, but this verse arms you with the authority to silence every voice of judgment. When you declare this verse, you are not ignoring the weapons, you are declaring them powerless. The shocking truth is that many believers live under words never condemned, curses never broken, accusations never challenged. This verse equips you to tear them down. The fifth verse is Romans 8 verse 37. In all these things we are more than conquerors through Him who loved us. The enemy wants you to see yourself as a victim, a struggler, someone barely surviving the storm, but this verse breaks that identity. More than a conqueror means the fight may rage, but the outcome is already settled. It means victory is not something you chase but something you enforce. Every stronghold in your life thrives on the lie that you cannot win, that you are destined to struggle forever, But this verse crushes that lie under the weight of divine love. When you declare you are more than a conqueror, you are declaring that every fortress of fear, addiction, shame, or despair is already defeated under the banner of Christ's love. The sixth verse is Revelation 12 verse 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they did not love their lives unto the death. This is the formula of victory. The blood breaks the legal claim of the enemy, your testimony silences his accusations, and your surrender destroys his leverage. Strongholds thrive where secrets live, but testimony is light. Every time you testify to what God has done, you weaken the enemy's grip, because your story becomes a weapon. Your deliverance is not only for you, it becomes the key that unlocks freedom for others. The blood speaks louder than condemnation, and your testimony speaks louder than shame. The seventh verse is Philippians 4 verse 13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This is not a motivational slogan, it is a declaration of divine empowerment. Strongholds tell you what you cannot do. They whisper limits into your ear. They say you will never overcome, never change, never break free. But this verse annihilates every limitation. It places Christ's strength at the center of your ability, making the impossible possible. Every chain that says you can't shatters when you declare, through Christ I can. The eighth verse is Psalm 91 verse 11. For he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. Strongholds often feel like cages where you are outnumbered and defenseless, but this verse reveals the hidden army assigned to your protection. Angels are not fairy tale figures, they are warriors on assignment, and when you declare this verse you remind the enemy that you are never alone. Strongholds that try to isolate you collapse under the reality that heaven's host surrounds you. The ninth verse is Ephesians 6 verse 11. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. Strongholds are not random, they are schemes, strategic, calculated attacks designed to exploit weakness. But the armor is not suggestion, it is survival. Truth, righteousness, faith, salvation, the word, and prayer clothe you with invincibility. Declaring this verse daily is not ritual, it is warfare. It is reminding the enemy that you are dressed for battle, armed for resistance, and unshakable in stance. The 10th verse is Matthew 16 verse 19. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. This is authority. Strongholds are not only to be endured, they are to be bound and demolished by the authority Christ has given you. When you bind fear, it must bow. When you loose freedom, it must flow. The keys are in your mouth, in your prayers, in your declarations. You are not a prisoner begging for release, you are a kingdom citizen enforcing victory. Each of these verses is not ink on a page but a weapon forged in the Spirit, a sword to slice through lies, a hammer to smash chains, a fire to consume every fortress built against your destiny. Strongholds thrive where Scripture is ignored, but they crumble where Scripture is declared. Do not let these verses remain unspoken promises. Turn them into living weapons. Write them, memorize them, shout them, pray them until every thought, every chain, every lie collapses under their weight. Because the word is not passive, it is alive and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing soul and spirit, dividing joint and marrow, judging the thoughts and attitudes of the heart. The challenge is simple. Will you keep letting the enemy build fortresses in your life, or will you rise up and tear them down with the word that has already promised your victory? Do not wait for another battle, another sermon, another chance. Speak these verses now. Declare them over your mind, your home, your family, your future. Refuse to live another day behind walls that Christ already demolished at the cross. The power is in your mouth, the weapon is in your hand, the victory is in His word. Take it, wield it, and watch every stronghold fall. If these verses stirred something in you, don't let this moment slip away. Chains are not meant to decorate your life, they are meant to be shattered. The enemy wants you silent, but the word wants you free. Take these scriptures, declare them, and turn them into the weapons they were always meant to be. And if you need a constant fire in your spirit, a steady reminder that you are not fighting alone, then subscribe to Faith Ablaze Network right now. This is more than content. It is fuel for your faith, a lifeline for your battles, a voice calling you higher. Share this message with someone you love, because their stronghold may only break when you become the one who hands them the key. Don't just watch, fight back, speak the word, and walk in the freedom Christ already secured for you.